Welcome to What You Know Wednesday. Today, what we're going to do is some ICD-10 coding. The coding that I am going to be going over with you, I have found in chapter 3 workbook. Okay, so I want to remind you guys that this is slow. I also want to remind you guys, if you pick a term to look up and it's not in there, in the manual, pick another word. I pick the wrong words all the time. It's okay. It's okay. Remember when we were trying to decide what main terms were, and those were pretty, to me, those were pretty self-explanatory. It's not always going to be that cut and dried. So what I want you to know is if you pick one thing and you don't like it, it doesn't seem to match up when you read the description, I don't want you to say, no, pick another word, start again. So are you guys ready? Ready or not, here we go. All right, so we're beginning some ICD-10 coding. All right, so I want to point out, first of all, I am using my 2022 manual. So if I give a page number and it doesn't quite match up, that's why. My 2023 manual, when I moved my office, got put away in a safe place, and I just haven't found the safe place yet. But I have some students working in 2022 and some working in 2023. I am just going to try to show you how I have labeled my manual. You're going to only see alphabetic tabs because in the index, which for me starts on page 87, it may be a little bit, number may be a little bit off. When I want to look up, for example, if I want to look up cough, I want to be able to pull my C. Let me see. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to put it down lower so maybe you can see. So if I want to look up cough, I want to just be able to pull my tab and turn it over like that. So that is my alphabetic index. Now, when it goes to tabular, I have, because it's towards the back, I know it's a tabular. And if I want to look up a C, I've put some of mine up here because there's not a lot of room. I can just pull my C tab and I open it up to my tabular. That's how I've chosen to do mine. Your manual is yours. You do it how you choose. And what if you decide later you don't like the way that you labeled your manual? Pull your tabs off and do it again. It's your manual. So turn off my heater here. I'm roasting my feet. All right, so without further ado, let's go to our first scenario. Okay, we have first listed and two other diagnoses. Please do not get concerned. I also want to show you guys, I don't know if you can, let me turn my light down so maybe it's not. Can you see where I have written something and I put an arrow, and written something and I put an arrow? I call that mapping it out. I have the answer key to all of this, but I don't do it that way. I map it out because, for example, and let's talk about it, and then I'll tell you how I've mapped it out for myself. Y'all know I do things wacky, but they work. I'm just going to tell you now. Established 50-year-old patient with end-stage renal disease currently receiving dialysis is seen for acute left upper quadrant pain. So what do you think our first listed is?
End-stage renal disease?
Yes, that is what it's going to be. But I don't agree with that. We're going to go with that because that's what the book tells us. But what is he being seen for at this visit?
Acute left upper quadrant
pain. Now, let me tell you why we're doing end-stage renal disease. Because this pain probably has everything to do with end-stage renal disease. But as a coder, always go into the medical off when we get our medical records, we see what the diagnosis was. These exercises don't give us enough information, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to get so much on the job training, and medical records are big. They're not this small. So right now we just want to focus on the process. So yes, we're going to go with end-stage renal disease. So what do you think our main term is? What do we need to look up in our index?
Diseases?
Disease.
Okay.
It's going to be disease. So we're going to go to disease. And there's going to be a lot of them. A lot in the category of disease. My disease starts on page 205. It may be different for you, but maybe there and about. So I have found disease in the alphabetic index. So what do we need to look up next?
Renal.
Absolutely. What kind of disease? Renal, right? So we're going to begin to just sort through. I look at the top of my pages because if you look on page 209, disease is beside it. I look until I see where an R can be. Mine is on page 211. I'm not sure about for y'all.
Mine's on 211, 210 and 211.
Okay. So once we hit renal, what do we need to look for after that?
End stage.
End stage. So has everybody found renal in the index?
From retina.
Okay, you're too far. I'm trying to see where retina is so I can. Okay, you found retina. Is retina in the middle column for you? Stacy,
See renal
you see
in
renal?
the first column.
Yeah, yeah. So what we're going to do is we see renal, but we need end-stage renal disease, right? Good morning, Shanice. So we're going to take our finger and follow all down that line until we see end stage.
Found it.
Okay. So I want us to write down, what does it say? What's the code?
In 18.6.
Yes, 18.6. Yes. All right. So that is our first listed diagnosis. We're going to look that up in just a minute, but let's get all of our diagnoses down on paper before we start venturing off to the back. That way we don't have to go back and forth. So what is another diagnosis?
Dialysis.
Yes, we're going to do dialysis. So how would we look up dialysis? What's our main term? Duh, huh? We're going to look at these under, yeah, under dialysis. DIAL. Mine is on page 203, the first column. Let me know when you found dialysis.
Mine is the same place.
Okay. So maybe I won't have to label a whole nother manual because this one's already done. And So dialysis is on page 203 in the first column. So what kind of dialysis were we receiving? It was renal, right? So we're going to go down until we see renal. What ICD-10 code do you see for renal?
Z99.2.
Okay. Do you guys see that? Victoria, Stacy, do you see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's write that down. Okay, so we have one more. Oh my goodness, y'all. Yeah, we have one more. What's gonna be another diagnosis? Is
Upper
C,
quadrant pain.
yes. So what are we gonna look for in our index?
Pain.
Pain. That's our main term. Everything else is describing the pain. So now we're going to go to our P's and look for pain.
Mine's on 376.
Found it.
So we did renal, 376 at the bottom of the first column. No, not renal, abdominal, right? So the first term under pain says abdominal, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we want to stop there? We don't, because this is very specific of where it is. It's acute left upper quadrant. So let's look under abdominal. Let's just keep moving down. At the very bottom, do you guys see upper?
Yes.
And then do you see left quadrant?
Yes.
It's very specific. Not everything is always this specific. But as a kid in church, I was taught when you read the Bible, you never just read the one thing, you read what's above and what's below to get a better understanding. I want you to always remember that in coding. In the index, make sure that it's not more specific as you're looking the terms up, okay? And then once you go to check the code in your tabular, always look around to double check the specificity. So left quadrant pain is R0112. All right. So now let's take our codes and check them. We're going to go to the tabular. My tabular starts on 603. Okay. How do we know it's the tabular? Do you see these little colored tabs? They're all different colors. That's why it's called the tabular. I will always say index and tabular. Your tabular has the color. So our first code that we're going to look up is N18.6. So I'm going to go to my N's. Y'all, I really am going to encourage you to put the alphabet on your tabs because I'm already there. Mine is on 1,125. Let me know when you're there and we'll talk about what we see.
There.
I'm there.
Okay. Is everybody there?
I'm there now.
Okay. All right, so let's look at N18.6. Before we look at that, I want you to look up above at N18.3. That red dot, do y'all remember me talking about the stop sign? You can never use that. You can never build that code. You have to go down and come up with a more specific code. So luckily in 18.6, we don't have any dots in front of it, do we? So we're good. We're good to continue to look. So it says end-stage renal disease, chronic kidney disease requiring chronic dialysis. Use additional code to identify dialysis status. Do you see what that is? Z99.2 in parentheses. It says use additional. So we
Yes.
can check our dialysis code is correct. All right, so end-stage renal disease, do you guys agree that it's N18.6?
Yes.
Do we agree that our dialysis code is Z99.2?
Yes.
So we need to look up one more code. That's our pain code, right? R10.12. So let's go to R10. Mine is on page 1225. Let me know when you're there so we can talk about it.
I'm there.
Abigail, is yours on page 1125 also? Victoria,
Sorry.
don't worry about it, Victoria. I know they're sick. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't want, every time the baby coughs, I see your shoulders stiffen. Don't worry about it. It's all good. We just appreciate you being with us. All right, so do you guys see R10.1?
Yes.
What is that in front of that?
Red stop sign.
A stop sign. And what does a stop sign mean?
Look further. Cannot
Look
cope with.
further. Yeah. Okay. So we're looking for R10.12 and it's right underneath there. Stacy, can you tell us what that says?
Left upper quadrant pain.
And that's exactly what we're looking for, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's go. So R10.12, N18.6, and Z99.2. You just coded your first scenario. Your very first coding problem, I made sure you had 3 diagnosis codes to look at. Did that seem impossible?
No.
Stacy's like, I don't want to say no because I know it's not 100% clear. It will become more and more clear as we practice. But for your first coding scenario, you did fantastic. And it was
See, I find actual like going in the index and the tabular to be kind of like interesting and fun. I just find that I'm tripping up over Z codes.
yeah, Z codes can be extremely difficult. Now do you know what this is what I recommend on Z codes. Let me see if I did it in this one. I recommend that you get in your manual and you start playing in it. Now, can you see that I have a green square around this? I have written here, gyno visit. I have in this yellow, it's ears. I have in this orange, dental. Let's see, what else have I done? I may not, I haven't done a whole lot in this one. Over here, I have, well, you can't really see. The best thing that you can do with Z codes is spend time in the Z codes. Go through, highlight, make notes, tab if you want to. Read your green guidelines. There's a lot to read. Also, go to YouTube, type in ICD-10 coding with Z codes. Do some research. I can teach you what to do in these chapters. The biggest thing is for you to know where to go to find what you need. And part of that's going to be research. As a in coding career, you will always be researching. You're always going to be looking at something and learning something. So if you know Z codes are not clicking for you, spend some extra time just looking at YouTube videos to start with. Then get into the manual and put the two together, and it's going to become very familiar if you know what's there. Z codes are all over the place. They are. There's a ton of different kind of visits. Gyno visits, who would have thought that's where you find the Z codes? You find that in Z codes. You can. So, just learn what's there, then you're going to become more comfortable. And if not, we'll plan a class and we'll go through it together. There's nothing saying that I can't do a 9 o'clock Zoom on Thursday just for something specific. I just need to know what you're looking for, what you need us to do. So, but for today, I've got a meeting at 10. So let's get into our next. And they know that I may be late. Okay. All right. For our next scenario, established patient with complaints of shortness of breath. Upon examination, the physician determines she needs more aggressive treatment for her current congestive heart failure. So what do we need to look up for this scenario?
Shortness of breath.
Well, that wouldn't be an automatic thing, but I want you to look at this here. It's determined she needed more aggressive treatment for her current congestive heart failure. So this shortness of breath is because she needs more treatment for her already diagnosed congestive heart failure. Shortness of breath is part of congestive heart failure. So what we need to look for is congestive heart failure. So what's our main term? What do we need to look up?
Heart failure?
You can go that route and see what you find. I'm going to go for failure. And sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes you'll look up something and you'll tell me what you found, and I'll look up something and tell you what I found. That's part of having this coding conversation that we're having. Failure.
$251.
Yeah. All right. So if you go to failure and then you go to heart, let's see what it tells me. Your heart. So the best one that I see is, well, I'm going to let y'all decide what you think is the best that you see. In the middle column at the top, it says failure, and then you see heart, and that first code says in parentheses that it could all be part of the scenario. Acute, senile, sudden, but that is heart failure. I-50.9. somebody look up heart?
I did, but I didn't see anything. Yeah.
Abigail, I have the perks of looking it up first.
Mhm.
So I did go to heart because, I haven't done this in about 8 months. We're doing a lot in 8 months.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you guys think that we need to go to the tabular and look at I-509? Or did you, excuse me. If you keep on going down, you can find congestive too. And it's I-50.9 also. That's looking very promising to me. What do you guys think?
I looked on page 251. I seen failure heart in parentheses. In my book, it says continued. Am I looking in the wrong spot?
No, remember our books can be a little bit different. Do you see congestive further down?
Middle column.
Yeah, in the middle column, because I have failure heart, and then I have a code that says I-509.9. Then I continued on down and I see congestive and I see I-50.9 again. Do you see that? Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I find that that's promising. I find that that looks like that's what it should be. So let's go to our tabular and look at I-50.9. And let's see if we have it or if we need to start again.
I apologize. My kid's having fun in the background.
I-50.9, page 903. Let me know when you get there so we can discuss it.
Up there.
I'm there too.
Okay, do you see where I-50.9 is in that first column? It says, Stacy, are you there, hun?
509. I'm trying to find it. My eyes are fuzzy.
I-50.9. Abigail, is that on page 93 for y'all, 903 for y'all?
Mine's on 902, but I'm only seeing I-50.8.
Okay.
Oh, I found it. It's
Yeah,
gonna be on 903.
it's hard to see. It's on 903 at right above I-51. You'll see I-50.9. It says heart failure unspecified.
Mhm.
Okay, so it says underneath, it says cardiac, heart, or myocardial failure, congestive heart disease. Then right underneath that, it says congestive heart failure. So would I-50.9 fit this scenario?
Yes.
Stacy, did you find it, hun?
Yeah, I found it.
So do you think I-50.9 fits the scenario?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we're right. I-50.9. The shortness of breath is a symptom of congestive heart failure and is not reported. Okay, so we're going to do one more. No, we're going to do two more. Sorry, I had to get through. Patient with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Do you know how many times a year I have to look that up? Because I cannot remember it.
My
And I was
mom
a
has it.
cardiology coder. And I know the code, but I can't remember what it stands for. Okay. Patient with COPD is seen for an acute lower respiratory tract infection, which is bronchitis. Okay, so we only need one code. Is that right?
So we would go for the bronchitis, right? Because that's what they're being seen for.
Yes. I don't know. I actually coded pulmonary disease too on my little paper, but who knows why I did that. I may have did it just because I wanted to. But we only need one diagnosis. So, all right. So y'all walk me through it this time. Where are we going to go on the tabular? Will we go to the B's for bronchitis?
Well, we don't do the index first.
Oh, did I say tabular? I meant the index. Good call, Stacy. Keep me yes, so go to the index, go to the B's and find bronchitis. Hello, iPhone. Who is that? Hello?
Michaela.
Oh, it's Michaela. Hey, Michaela. We're doing a little coding. And I am recording so you can go back and watch what you've missed. All right, so when you get to the index, and you find bronchitis, let us know what page it is.
137.
Don't y'all just love the manuals with the spirals and you're always having to jiggle it and wrestle with it to... Okay, so bronchitis starts at the very bottom of the first. All right, so it says acute here. So what are we going to do next? We found bronchitis. Should we look for acute? Who remembers what acute means?
Isn't acute like short term?
Short term, that's right. Comes on fast and leaves quickly.
So we look for acute, or where it says acute or subacute.
With bronchospasm or obstruction. Okay, we can't use that acute because it has to be with a bronchospasm or obstruction, and it does not say that to us.
You see bronchitis acute.
Okay, so as I was starting to go down, I came across the word asthmatic, and the acute lower respiratory infection caught my eye. Even though it didn't say anything about being asthmatic, right?
No.
Oh, 44 points here.
I don't see anything that's telling me specifically. So when that does not work, which it doesn't, what, Victoria, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, sorry, I was talking to my daughter.
Oh, no, it's not, you're good. So, you know, it's quite a scratch your head and how do we figure it out? Well, it doesn't say anything specific. So we're looking at acute. Okay, let's look under acute again. With bronchiostasis, no. Then it says chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Well, look at there. It's bronchitis, and we have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
Still the
Yes.
same code.
Still the same code, yes. But sometimes you just have to go back, because I looked all the way down and I have mine mapped out, but I like to look at it with you guys. Even though I looked all around, I didn't find anything that I liked better. So I said, okay, I've missed something. There has to be something there. So I went back up to acute or subacute, and then I started looking at with. So do you guys think we need to look at J440 in our tabular? Let's look at J440 in our tabular. Mine is on 950.
Yep.
Let me know when you're there and we'll take a look at the description together. Okay, so when we see J44, which is just that base code, and there's a stop sign beside there. So we know that means we need to move on down. So J44.0 on page 950, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease with acute lower respiratory infection. Is that exactly what we're looking at in our scenario?
Yes.
Doesn't always work that cleanly, but let's make sure. Yep, J44.0. Okay, so this is going to be our last one. We're going to do it quickly, and I'm going to let you work individually. An otherwise healthy patient is seen in the clinic for exposure to tuberculosis. So what happened? We were exposed. We don't say, it doesn't say we have tuberculosis. It says that we had exposure to. So I would look for exposure and then tuberculosis. I said I was going to let you do it by yourself, but I'm trying. Wednesdays are hard because we have a 10 o'clock faculty meeting. And I am going to tell you, it will be a Z code.
It's 8.9.
That's what I got. So
Okay. What did you get again, Victoria?
we got Z20.1.
Okay. Abigail and Stacy, is that what you guys got?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now we found it in the index. Now let's go to the tabular and check it to see if we're right. I'll help you out. 1,628.
Contact with or suspected exposure to tuberculosis.
Sorry. So Z20.1 says contact with and suspected exposure to tuberculosis. So is that code correct? Would we put that on a claim?
Yes.
Great job. Okay, so who feels more confident? Or maybe a little more peaceful about the process? Somebody better raise their hand. I mean, just
I did.
you did?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I know that this is the beginning for you. This is what I want you to do. In chapter 3 in the workbook, just get in your textbook, anywhere you see that you can code something, just do it. Just get started. This is the first step. The hardest part of anything is that first step. You know, in your textbooks, if you do an exercise at the bottom of the textbook, it says answer key found in Appendix B. Click Appendix B and look at your answers and check them. That it's just practice. And let me tell you, if it's not right, I don't want you to get frustrated with yourself. We only learn when we get something wrong, okay? We can do more coding. Let me get back with you on when we can do that, because tomorrow we have 4 o'clock Zoom. Maybe I'm going to check with Shanice. Shanice, I don't know what Shanice's work schedule is, so I'm going to get with her because she just texted me and said, I needed to be in this Zoom to understand. Michaela, I know you came in kind of at the end, but do you have more understanding now? Did that help?
She's been putting it in the chat. She's
a little. Okay. Oh, she's putting it in the chat. And it did a little. Well, right now, a little is okay because guess what? We're just going to keep practicing and keep doing it. Do y'all want me to do a 9 o'clock Zoom in the morning to code some more?
Can we do more Z codes tomorrow?
Can we do it? No, I can't do it on Friday because I'm going to Lafayette. Yes, we'll have to do it tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, we'll do a little coding and then we'll talk about Z codes. How does that sound? Get your highlighters ready. If you don't have any, go to the Dollar Tree, get you some highlighters. And we'll just begin to go. And it's not going to be anything fancy. We're just going to begin to go each section and kind of highlight and make notes and talk about what's in there. And I'll try to find some more coding for Z codes. But yeah, I'll try to do that. We'll try to specifically code Z codes tomorrow.
I do have a question. One of my friends, she told me that apparently Thursday they're redoing the e-learning site.
Well, that was what I forgot to re-talk about this. Yeah, they told us on June 22nd that we were going to need to get out of Zanzibar. That is no longer the case. Just don't worry about it right now. It's going to be in July and it's only going to be for a couple of days. But I appreciate Abigail and Stacy yesterday, and Victoria, if you were here, you would have done it too. Making sure that you can get in, because I was concerned. I needed to know that process. I needed to figure out what we needed to do. So right now, don't worry about it. They changed the dates on us, and I promise to keep you posted on exactly what's going to happen and when. But right now, I don't have the exact time. So it's not tomorrow.
That's good.
Although I had already put lessons in it. All right. We good. All good in the neighborhood. So I needed to practice to put lessons. So, all right. Well, I will. Can we make it? No, because I have a 10:30. So. Can we make it 9:30 tomorrow morning? No, let's keep it at 9. Use this link. I'm not gonna put it out to the whole class. I will just send a recording to the whole class. But let's just keep it, you guys have the link from today and use that again tomorrow, and I'll see you at 9.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, have a good one.
You too.